Why did you feel now was the right time to finally release a memoir?
I have been thinking about it forever and kind of making little notes as I went along, writing little essays and putting them aside. Really, for the last 15 years, I've been doing that, telling people, well, I'm working on my autobiography. But really, it didn't get real until a friend of mine, Pamela DeBar, who wrote I'm with the Band, set me up with her book agent. He took me around to publishers. We had meetings and I got a deal. And then they give you a deadline. And then that's when you really write a book. I
Set you down to the fire.
Yeah. You get paid for it and so I don't know that if I would not have gotten an agent or a deal, it'd be 30 more years, then.
And I mean, when it did come time for you, you get the deadline and you need to start mapping everything out. I guess, how did you approach that? Just, did you pull out old photo albums? Like what did you look to for, I guess, inspiration to write?
I don't know. I kind of sat down. I took all these various essays I had and kind of that were just about something that happened in my childhood, something that happened, in my early career as an actress here in Hollywood. And I started putting those together, and then sort of seeing where I had to fill in the gaps. There were a lot of gaps to fill in. I don't know. And then when I did go through the photos, I really didn't do my photos until the end. That's practically like writing a book. I swear to God.
I'm sure.
Picking those up, finding them, printing them so they're good enough to see, because some of them were so old and funky, and then trying to decide which ones to use. I mean, I had like a billion. I had to cut
sure.
So I'll save that for the documentary, right? But,
right.
Anyway, I loved the process of writing it. I mean, there were days where I didn't love it so much.
Sure.
And strangely, I liked the process of the part about when I was young, when I was growing up and I was a child, and my personal life, which people hadn't heard about. Writing the Elvira thing, how I became Elvira, how I worked over the last 40 years as Elvira, was a little bit more like writing my resume or something. I was afraid people would go, I heard that already. We know that, So it was, that was the hardest part, maybe trying to make that seem interesting.
No,
everybody in my life was much more interesting before I became Elvira, and that sort of is, right?
I was gonna say there's a lot before we get to the, there's a quick intro. Here's my first day as Elvira, and then you get thrown back into the past, and there's a lot that I think a lot of people would be surprised to know. I mean, one of the first you're talking about pictures that you had to find, like the first pictures of you in the newspaper, just after that horrible accident, just. Even you have a good, joke about it now, though. Like I was destined for the headlines from the very beginning.
Yeah, I was a tiny media whore already.
But all that stuff about, how you were growing up and, how you did feel like, as I want to say, how'd you put it, an exceptionally homely kid at certain points of your childhood. I guess who was maybe most surprised to see you go from those early years, that kid who, did have these scars, but always did want to perform, turning into this Vegas showgirl, and then eventually this vampy Elvira character?
Well, I think the most surprised people were my mom and dad.
I would assume that is the case.
I think I shocked the living hell out of both of them. I mean, they were very happy and proud that happened to me, but I don't think they ever believed, I used to say I wanted to be an actor, I wanted to be a singer, I wanted to be, in a band, I wanted to be a dancer, all of these things. And my mom was always very like, you're not good looking enough, you're not tall enough, you're not this enough, it was very discouraging. But I think why I kept pursuing is to kind of like an I'll show you kind of thing. Oh, really?
I was gonna say.
I can do that? Well, I'm going to show you what I can do,
Right. Those like self-conscious feelings really pushed you to kind of become the total opposite of that box people were putting you in, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. It was really bizarre. I mean, yeah, after having all these scars and everything, I mean, and completely hiding my body from people, not wanting them to see it because kids pointed, laughed,
Yeah.
made fun of me, called me names. To then suddenly be running around in my skivvies on stage, I'm not quite sure how I got from the one to the other. It's very bizarre.
I was gonna say I was surprised that you even started in Vegas so young too. I always knew that you were, you did start as a Vegas showgirl, but I didn't realize it was when you were 17 years old. Just as a teenager in Vegas, that has to be, I mean, Vegas then compared to Vegas now, but it still has to be a totally surreal experience. Just how do you kind of adjust to that
I was
as
a virgin too. God, I was a showgirl on stage.
a
Virgin. I mean, what the hell? How's that possible? I don't. Yeah, I don't know how I adjusted to it, but I grew up fast. I learned a lot of stuff real fast. Good and bad.
And I was gonna say, obviously, your exploits with some of the famous men that are legendary, some of which we already knew about. Some names I think are new in the book, but to name a few, we've got
Long list.
Elvis, Tom Jones, Jimmy Page, Jimi Hendrix, Siegfried of Siegfried and Roy, a double date with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then nights with Robert De Niro and John Voight. I mean, first of all, I have to say, good job. Good for you.
Yeah,
I love how, obviously Elvira is seen as like this feminist character and you're very sex positive. And I think that is fantastic. And to have that in this book, I think is also just, it's great. But for you, were you hesitant about naming some of these names that maybe weren't out there?
I was, I don't know. I was talking to my friend Richard Chamberlain. He and I had worked on a movie a million years ago, Alan Quartermain and the Lost City of Gold. And I became very close with them. And he would always say to me, whatever you do, don't write a tell-all book. And I'm like, I think I just did. But I figured, what the hell? I mean, you only live once and why keep it a secret? I mean, if I was a guy, I wouldn't be keeping it a secret.
Exactly.
Like, hey, this happened, that happened. If you don't like it, what am I going to do?
I was just curious because obviously when you first told the Tom Jones story, it took on a life of its own, which you write about in the book itself, that sometimes you regret telling it the way that you did. And, then you retell it here, but clearly you weren't as worried about it this time, I guess.
I wasn't, I just, when you get to a point, when you get a certain age, it's like, what can I do now to screw up my life or not? It doesn't really, I mean, if people don't like me because of it, as I said in the book, welcome. Anyway.
And
so
obviously
what happened? And, and I could have been screwing around with 100 unknown people, but I happen to like well-known people. What can you say?
There's nothing wrong with that.
Fun.
I was gonna say, obviously, I know you're very happy in your personal life now, but is there one of those names that you would consider, someone that got away, the one that got away, or you wish maybe you had more time with?
Well, of those, maybe all of them. But I mean, wow, I don't know. I had quite a fun time with Nicolas Cage one time, and that I really, I sort of saw that going somewhere. But I was married, so it didn't go anywhere. So, yeah, so just stage friendly. But I don't know. There were a lot. Yeah, I would have liked to gotten a lot closer to Jimi Hendrix. I got to tell you. I mean,
yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah, and at that point, I was still a virgin, so I was. Don't ask me what I was doing, but I was not sleeping with anybody. But it's too bad because that would have been awesome.
Yeah, that's all right. It's all right. You still have good stories, which is really what matters at the end of the day. Lastly, you end the book saying Elvira, the character, might outlive you, which I think is a great thing because you're leaving this legacy behind. She is such an iconic character, but your 70th birthday is coming up. It may have passed by the time we post this video, but early happy birthday. But for you, just what does the future of Elvira look like or mean to you? What do you think will happen? in the future?
Well, what I'm hoping and thinking about is that I will hang up the dress, not be getting into character anymore. I really want to, stop while I'm kind of,
Yeah,
not,
well, you want to have that
you know?
time to enjoy too. I'm sure
Yeah,
it's a
also have a
process.
life. Yeah, it is. But I also am thinking that I hope will be a lot more projects. I hope out of this book comes possible anything from a documentary to a movie about my life to a Broadway play about like Elvira Misters of the Dark of that
Mhm.
movie or anything. And that I can be a person who oversees it, helps write it, put it together, but not having to dress up in the drag. Because I
Yeah.
really think that the character, I'm happy to say, has become iconic enough that I think as a symbol, it will continue to be out there, kind of like Santa Claus. And I hate to put
Mm.
this on you, but there is no real Santa Claus.
Oh no. He could
So
be
Santa
like, yeah,
Claus is
or she could
coming
be
up.
like Batman. Every few years, another person tries it out and sees what they can do.
Right. So you never know. Who knows? Somebody else could be playing me. Dolly Parton. How about that? He'll play me in the movie of my life.
Right.